The case of Rebecca Reusch is undoubtedly one of the most intriguing in all of Germany. The way everything unfolded, the theories, the assumptions, and the fact that the prime suspect in the case is being defended by the victim's own family make this an unusual case. Today, I present to you all the information I have found about this story, the case of Rebecca Reusch. Rebecca Reusch was born on September 21, 2003 in Berlin, the capital of Germany. She is the daughter of Bernd and Brigitte Reusch, who, besides her, have two other daughters, Jessica and Vivian, both older than Rebecca. Rebecca had a peaceful childhood and was described as a cheerful girl who enjoyed talking to others. At the time of the events, Rebecca was 15 years old and was the only child still living with her parents, as her sisters had moved out after getting married. The family lived in Britz, a district in Neukölln, Berlin. Rebecca attended Walter Gropius School, was in the 10th grade, and had recently transferred to this school. Schoolmates of Rebecca later reported that she seemed somewhat depressed. According to them, the girl had little outlook on the future and did not see much meaning in life. People who followed the case at the time believed that Rebecca was just trying to find her place in the world, as many teenagers do when they reach this stage in life. It might have been anxiety due to the pressure she felt. However, aside from her classmates' reports, Rebecca was described by everyone who knew her as a fun, cheerful girl who loved making new friends. Like almost all teenagers her age, Rebecca was very active on social media, and across all her platforms, she had over 30,000 followers. She was also a big fan of K-pop, especially the band BTS, and used to post videos online dancing and singing the group's songs. According to sources and her own family, Rebecca was very close to her sister Jessica. At the time of the events, Jessica was 27 years old and lived with her husband Florian Reichert, 28 years old. The couple had a young daughter and lived in a house located very close to Rebecca's. Rebecca would often stay at her sister's house on weekends whenever her parents allowed. It was said that she would spend hours playing with her niece, to whom she was very attached. On February 17, 2019, a Sunday, Rebecca asked her parents if she could stay at her sister's house. Florian would be going out that night with friends to an office party, and the two sisters would have the house to themselves. They planned to order pizza and watch movies. Since it was a Sunday, Rebecca had classes the next day, Monday. Rebecca's mother said she could spend the night at her sister's house, provided she promised not to skip school. Rebecca promised, and her mother approved the stay at Jessica's house. That evening went smooth. Florian left as planned, and Rebecca, along with her sister and niece, had pizza and watched TV. Around 8 p.m., Rebecca sent a selfie to Vivian, her other sister. Vivian didn't know it at the time, but that would be her last contact with Rebecca. When it was time to sleep, a little after midnight, Jessica went to her bedroom, which was upstairs, while Rebecca stayed downstairs, where she would sleep on the living room sofa. Florian returned from the party around 5:45 a.m. According to him, he changed clothes and went straight to bed. Jessica woke up just before 7 a.m., left the house with her daughter to drop her off at daycare, and then went to work. At 7:15 a.m., Brigitte, Rebecca's mother, tried calling her daughter to check if she was up and ready for school. However, Rebecca's phone went straight to voicemail. Brigitte thought that perhaps Rebecca's phone was out of battery. She decided to call Jessica to check if Rebecca was already awake and ready for school. Jessica reassured her mother, saying that Rebecca's classes wouldn't start until 9:40 a.m. that day. Feeling somewhat relieved, Brigitte said she would try calling Rebecca again later. Between 7 o'clock and 7:46 a.m., Rebecca sent a Snapchat photo to a friend. Since Snapchat photos are automatically deleted after being viewed, the exact time the photo was taken is unknown. The photo was seen by Rebecca's friend at 8:15 a.m. In the photo, Rebecca was in a hallway wearing a BTS sweatshirt with Rap Monster on the back, a pink fleece jacket, ripped jeans, and black and white Vans sneakers. This description was provided by Rebecca's friend who saw the photo, as the photo itself had been automatically deleted. At 8:25 a.m., Rebecca's mother called her a second time, but once again the call went to voicemail. Worried, Brigitte decided to call her son-in-law, Florian. Florian was very tired. He had returned from the party early in the morning and was also a bit drunk. He heard his phone ringing but chose not to answer due to his exhaustion. Brigitte then called Jessica again and informed her that she was trying to reach Florian, but his phone was just ringing. Jessica called her husband several times, and eventually, due to the persistent ringing, he answered the phone. Jessica asked Florian to take the call from her mother-in-law because she wanted to check on Rebecca. A few minutes later, Brigitte called Florian again, and this time he answered. She asked him to check if Rebecca was awake yet, as she didn't want the girl to miss school. Florian went to the living room to check but did not find Rebecca. He told Brigitte over the phone that Rebecca was no longer there. Brigitte felt slightly relieved, assuming that Rebecca had gone to school. After that, Brigitte sent Rebecca a message saying, "Hello, my dear. I hope you arrive at school on time. I couldn't reach you. Kiss." The message showed 2 dots indicating that it had been delivered but not read. Thus, Brigitte concluded that Rebecca's phone was on, but she had not responded promptly because her phone might have been charging at school and she could be in class. However, by 9:40 a.m., Rebecca had not arrived at school. As time passed, Rebecca's teachers noticed her absence. The girl was not known for missing school, so the teachers decided to contact her parents to check if everything was all right. In the teachers' minds, Rebecca was at home, safe, and had simply forgotten to inform the school of her absence. When Rebecca's mother spoke with the teachers and learned that her daughter had not come to school, she panicked. She quickly contacted Bernd, Rebecca's father, who was at work, and together they went to the police. Upon arriving at the police station, Bernd and Brigitte explained the situation to the officers, stating that their daughter would never disappear voluntarily. Despite the desperate pleas from Rebecca's parents, the police informed them that they could only issue a missing person alert and start the search for the girl after 24 hours. Realizing they would not receive immediate assistance from the police, Bernd and Brigitte decided to conduct their own search. First, they went to Rebecca's school and searched the entire area around it. They spoke to people on the street and asked if anyone had seen their daughter, but no one had seen anything, and there was no sign of Rebecca in the area. Next, they went to a shopping mall that the girl frequently visited and once again found no clues. They called several of Rebecca's friends in hopes that one of them knew her whereabouts or might be with her, but none of the friends had any idea where Rebecca could be. They also reached out to close family members to inform them of the situation. On the same day, Rebecca's family posted about her disappearance on Facebook. The post included a photo of the girl along with details that could help in identifying her if someone saw her. It wasn't until the next day, February 19th, that the police began the initial search efforts. On the same day, the family created numerous flyers and started distributing them throughout Berlin. The family was very disappointed with the police. Firstly, for refusing to start the search as soon as Rebecca's disappearance was reported. In missing person cases, every second is crucial. Secondly, because the family provided several photos of Rebecca for the authorities to use, but they chose the worst possible photo, which wasn't even among those sent by the family. The photo selected by the authorities was one from Rebecca's Instagram where she was heavily made up and using a filter. To the family, this photo made Rebecca look older, which could hinder her identification if someone saw her on the street. On February 21st, the German authorities officially declared Rebecca Reusch missing. Along with this declaration, the authorities released information about the girl, stating that she was carrying a Vans backpack, a pink jacket, a cell phone, a purple blanket, a camera, and a BTS sweatshirt. Many people following the case began to theorize that Rebecca had run away from home. People believed that the girl had taken many things for just spending one day at her sister's house. However, it was surprising that Rebecca used to take all these items, such as the backpack and the camera, wherever she went. It was something she habitually did. Moreover, she had no issues with her family, and no other apparent reason to want to run away. The police even investigated the runaway theory, but quickly dismissed it due to the lack of supporting evidence. By this time, the German press was fully aware of the case and was providing extensive coverage. On February 23rd, a specialized serious crime squad took over the case. In the following days, authorities conducted intense searches throughout Berlin and the surrounding areas. Various locations were inspected, including the family's home, the homes of Rebecca's sisters, the school she attended, and several other places she frequented. Despite all these efforts, no trace of Rebecca was found. Among all the potential suspects, Rebecca's brother-in-law, Florian, was at the top of the list. Florian was taken into custody on February 28th. He was interrogated for several hours, and the following day, March 1st, was released. The police theory was that Florian might have come home drunk, taken advantage of Rebecca, and then disposed of her. Rebecca's family was outraged by this theory. Florian had been married to Jessica for many years, had a daughter with her, and was part of the family. Additionally, Rebecca had stayed at her sister's house numerous times and had never mentioned that Florian had shown any intention of harming her. To the family, this theory made no sense. Following this, the search for Rebecca continued. A helicopter flew over various areas of Berlin and nearby regions. Search dogs were used in an attempt to detect Rebecca's scent in areas she might have passed through, but once again, nothing was found. On March 4th, Florian Reichert was arrested again. The police stated that the reason for this was that Florian's previous testimony was entirely inconsistent with the evidence. Florian had reported in his testimony that he arrived home around 5:45 a.m. and due to fatigue simply changed his clothes and went to bed. However, upon examining his cell phone, authorities discovered that Florian had used the internet for several hours after returning from the party. According to the authorities, Florian had sent text messages to friends and accessed adult content websites. Thus, it was clear that Florian had not gone straight to bed, as he had claimed in his testimony. This further reinforced the police's suspicion that Florian might have done something to Rebecca. For the police, it didn't make sense that Florian would lie about going straight to bed after arriving home from the party, especially since he was actually awake and using his phone. Why would he lie about this? The police believed he was hiding something, which made him the prime suspect in the case. Another issue was that no security cameras in the neighborhood around Jessica's house, or even the surrounding area, captured Rebecca heading towards her school. The case is relatively recent, from 2019, and I assume that in a city like Berlin, there are cameras on every corner. To be honest, I don't know Berlin and have never been there, but where I live, out of 10 houses, at least 5 have surveillance cameras, not to mention cameras installed in small, medium, and large businesses. So what does this mean? It means it's very likely that Rebecca never left her sister's house, at least not on foot as she intended to. Rebecca planned to walk from her sister's house to a nearby bus stop, but no camera captured her and no one saw her. The police have a theory about this, which we will discuss later. While Florian Reichert was in custody for the second time, the search for Rebecca Reusch continued. The police focused their search on forests, rivers, and lakes in the Berlin area. Several police officers and volunteers helped with the search, but again, no evidence was found. As Florian was a potential suspect and his and Jessica's home was likely the crime scene, according to the police, authorities decided to conduct another search of the property. A specialized team was sent with the goal of finding and collecting any evidence that could confirm the police's suspicions. If Florian had indeed attacked Rebecca at the house, it was likely that some blood traces would be found by the specialized team, and the police were counting on this. Search dogs were also used. However, despite all the efforts by the authorities, nothing was found. On March 6th, Michael Hoffman, the lead detective on the case, appeared on a German TV program and asked anyone with information about Rebecca's disappearance to contact the authorities. Michael also mentioned that he and his team had received information that Florian was spotted driving on the A12 highway on the morning of February 18th, the day Rebecca disappeared, and on the night of February 19th. Michael even showed photos of Florian during the program, asking anyone who had seen him acting suspiciously on the day of the disappearance to inform the authorities. This action by Detective Hoffman was criticized by Florian's lawyers, who felt that the premature exposure of their client was unnecessary. For context, the A12 highway is a federal road that connects Berlin to the border with Poland. According to authorities, the cherry-red Renault Twingo, which belongs to Florian and Jessica, was captured by cameras on the A12 highway on the morning of February 18th. The vehicle was spotted around 10:40 a.m. heading towards Poland. Later that same day, Florian returned home. On the following day, February 19th, the Renault Twingo was again captured on the A12 highway, making the same journey towards Poland, but this time at 10:40 p.m., authorities confirmed that Jessica was at work on the morning of February 18th. Thus, only Florian could have been driving the Renault Twingo that day. This was the same day as Rebecca's disappearance, and the fact that Florian left home and drove his vehicle towards Poland made the police even more suspicious of him. Remember when I said that the police had a theory about why Rebecca was not captured by any security cameras or seen by any witnesses after leaving her sister's house? Well, the police believed that Rebecca did not leave her sister's house on foot, as she intended to go to the bus stop. The police theory is that Florian waited for his wife to leave the house so he could attack Rebecca. Then he would have put her in the Renault Twingo and driven towards Poland on the A12 highway to dispose of her body along the way. According to authorities, the drive from Florian's home to Poland would take at least 2 hours to complete. The authorities conducted a sweep of the areas along the A12 highway as shown on this map. Point 1 is Rebecca Reusch's last known location on February 18th. Point 2 is where the Renault Twingo, driven by Florian, was captured by cameras on the A12 highway on February 18th and 19th. Points 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the areas where authorities conducted multiple searches between March 7th and 29. No trace of Rebecca was found during these searches. Authorities also conducted a forensic examination of the Renault Twingo, where several strands of Rebecca's hair and fibers from the purple blanket she had were found. The police stated that this was further evidence of Florian's involvement in the girl's disappearance. However, Rebecca's family rebutted these claims and defended Florian once again. According to them, it was entirely normal to find Rebecca's hair and blanket fibers in the Renault Twingo, as the vehicle also belonged to Jessica, and Rebecca often hitched rides with her sister. Bernd Reusch, Rebecca's father, spoke to journalists when Florian was arrested for the second time. He firmly believed in his son-in-law's innocence and said he knew the exact reason Florian went to Poland on February 18th and 19, but could not disclose details due to it being a very personal matter. Journalists persistently questioned Bernd about this personal matter. However, Bernd refused to speak. A few days later, one of those journalists published an article suggesting that Florian had gone to Poland for drug-related reasons. This was confirmed by Rebecca's family and Florian himself, who admitted to selling drugs and traveling to Poland to deliver a quantity to an acquaintance. On March 22nd, Florian Reichert was released again due to a lack of evidence linking him to Rebecca Reusch's disappearance. I couldn't find information on whether he faced charges related to drug offenses, but it's possible. By this point, the case had gained enormous media attention across Germany and even some other European countries. Public opinion was divided. Many were confused and did not understand why Rebecca's family staunchly defended Florian. Many believed there was enough evidence to link Florian to the case, while others thought he was completely innocent. Since German authorities found no trace of Rebecca during their searches around the A12 highway, they theorized that Florian might have disposed of her body in Polish territory. Thus, German authorities requested Polish authorities to search for Rebecca in the area near the border between the two countries. The Polish authorities agreed and set up search teams to comb through the border area where the A12 highway passes. And again, no trace of Rebecca Reusch was found. In addition to Florian Reichert, the police also questioned 2 other potential suspects. The first was a 15-year-old boy identified only as Max. According to Rebecca's family, she and Max met online and had been in contact for several months. A week before her disappearance, Rebecca and Max had arranged to meet. Rebecca asked her family for permission to meet Max, but they did not allow it, as the boy lived in another city. The family believes that, in a moment of rebellion, Rebecca might have skipped school to meet Max. They also think that Max is not a 15-year-old boy, but an adult pretending to be young to attract girls. With this information, the police started investigating to try to locate Max. During the investigation, it was discovered that Max had deleted all his social media accounts a few days after Rebecca disappeared. This was obviously very suspicious and also made it difficult for the police to locate him. However, after a few months of investigation, the police concluded that Max and Rebecca had not been in contact for more than 6 months. This was odd, as the family said they had regular contact and had even planned to meet a week before Rebecca's disappearance. In any case, the police ruled out Max as a suspect and did not pursue further investigations into him. Later, German journalists Lena Niethammer and Miriam Arntz released an investigative podcast focused on Rebecca Reusch's case. In this podcast, Lena and Miriam mentioned that they managed to locate Max through their research. They managed to speak with the boy, who confirmed what the police had discovered. Max and Rebecca had not been in contact for over 6 months. Max said that he and Rebecca used to talk every day, but over time, the frequency of their conversations decreased until they stopped completely. Regarding the deletion of his social media accounts, there is no concrete information, but it might have been a coincidence, as Max appears to have reactivated his accounts months later. It seems that Max indeed had nothing to do with Rebecca's disappearance. However, a gap remains in the story. If it wasn't Max, then who was the person Rebecca intended to meet? I'm not sure if the police investigated this thoroughly, but it's quite puzzling. We should remember that no security cameras captured Rebecca walking through the streets, and the police have already mentioned possible reasons for this. Could it be that someone else picked up Rebecca from her sister's house by car? And since Florian was sleeping, he might not have heard anything? These are just theories, and I believe only the police could answer these questions. Another potential suspect the police investigated was a boy named Lucas, who was a classmate of Rebecca's. According to Brigitte, Lucas and Rebecca had a big argument at school a few days before Rebecca disappeared. Brigitte even went to the school to talk to Lucas in an attempt to resolve the situation. The police spoke with Lucas but quickly ruled him out as a suspect, as there was no evidence linking him to the disappearance. Additionally, Lucas was at school surrounded by people when Rebecca disappeared. After some time had passed since Rebecca's disappearance, a woman contacted the police claiming to have seen Rebecca at a bus stop. Following this alleged sighting, other reports began to emerge. Some claimed that Rebecca was seen inside a bus, while others said she had been spotted near the city center. The police investigated some of these reports, but none could be confirmed. Therefore, it is unknown if these sightings were real, if there was confusion, or if people were just seeking attention. As time went by and concrete leads on Rebecca's disappearance dwindled, numerous theories emerged from those following the case. One theory suggested that Rebecca might have secretly traveled to South Korea to see her BTS idols up close. While it's true that teenagers can be impulsive, it's highly unlikely that a 15-year-old girl could cross an entire continent unnoticed. Another theory was that Rebecca might have fallen victim to human trafficking. Many speculated that Rebecca might have skipped school to meet someone she met online. Initially, it was believed this person was Max, but as we know, he hadn't been in contact with Rebecca for over 6 months, so she might have been meeting someone else. However, there is no evidence to support these theories. For the police, the primary suspect remains Florian Reichert. According to German authorities, all information collected during the investigation points to Florian as being responsible for Rebecca's disappearance. In 2020, the prosecution requested Google to recover data from Rebecca's and Florian's mobile phones, stored on Google's servers in Dublin, Ireland. The data was delivered in early 2021, but nothing of relevance was found. In April 2023, the police revisited Florian's house, conducted acoustic tests, and searched for items that could have been used for suffocation. This new search and testing did not yield new evidence. Rebecca Reusch's disappearance garnered significant media attention in Germany and triggered a lot of speculation. It was described as one of the most intriguing criminal cases in the country. Missing persons expert Peter Jamin called it the most widely publicized case in Germany, mentioning that only the Madeleine McCann case received more attention. Rebecca Reusch's family continues to suffer from the anguish of not knowing what happened to her. In an interview, Bernd and Brigitte Reusch expressed their belief that their daughter is still alive somewhere, and they hold on to the hope of finding her one day. This is undoubtedly one of the most intriguing cases in Germany and raises numerous questions. But now I want to know what you think. What do you believe happened to Rebecca? Do you think Florian is innocent? Or do you believe he is indeed linked to her disappearance? Leave your opinions in the comments below.